everybody. Long time no see. It feels good to be home. I know it's been a little bit of a while since my last episode, but I just had the most amazing last month traveling, being able to see my family for the first time in a while, and I did not have time to make a podcast. I also didn't have anything with me because I was all the way across the country out on the East Coast, helping my sister move into her new house in Halifax. And it was so nice. For those of you who don't know, which is probably all of you, because this is my third podcast, I went to university in Halifax, and I absolutely loved it out there. It's just such an amazing city to live in. And so my sister's doing a one-year certificate program because she just graduated from her undergrad and is moving out there to do it. And I got to go help her move into her new apartment there. And so it just felt so good to feel at home there and visit all of my favorite old places. And I was so lucky that my university roommates also actually all happened to be there at the same time. So I got to see my mom and my sister and my aunt and my cousin and have a little family trip. And then I got to go spend a couple nights away with all of my best friends from university. And it was just, it felt so amazing to be there, and I loved it. And then I got back and was home for a week, and then drove out to Vancouver for a couple days, just as a quick little overnight visit. But I got to do a little bit of touristing around there and eat some really good soup dumplings, so it was also really great. I actually tried to record this episode right before I left for Vancouver, recorded the whole thing, went back and watched it after and realized that maybe 2 minutes into starting the recording, I jostled the camera when I was trying on one of my finished objects. And it was basically from here down for the rest of it, so that wouldn't have been much fun for anyone to watch. Anyways, I'm back, and I'm excited to be here and excited to be getting back into the back to school season, because it does really feel like a back to school year this year for me, which is nice. So, we will start with the giveaway. So I said last month that I was going to be doing a giveaway for some items, and here they are. So I have 3 giveaways. I have number 1, this Gathering Yarn Summer One-Shot Sock Series. It's got some bamboo in it, so it's nice and light, and that is going to come with your very own 9-inch circular do not know how to say that brand. Anyways, 9-inch circular needle. So if you want to try knitting your socks on a circular needle, that's a nice little kit for you right there. I also have this Sanda's Garn tin merino. So it's a superwash merino in a fingering weight, and if you are planning on making a one-shot fingering weight pattern, like for example the My Favorite Things bandana, or the really amazing bandana pattern that Woolly Witchcraft just put out, either this merino or this beautifully soft sage green alpaca silk would be great options. And so I've picked some winners using just a random comment picker on the internet. And the 3 winners, I have Alyssa or Eliza B is going to be getting the socks. Leanne is going to be getting this lovely sunshine yellow merino. And Astara O is going to be getting this alpaca silk. So I'll be in contact with you somehow, whether through YouTube comments or if you want to send me a message on Instagram, that's also an option. I'll put my Instagram link up, and then we'll figure out how to get those over to you so that you can start knitting away on it. Anyways, on to the normal portion of the podcast. I have a few finished objects this month, but like I said, it has been very busy in both the preparation to leave for my vacation and also while on vacation. I thought I was going to get a lot more done on vacation. I did not, which I think is a really great thing, honestly. I got to spend so much time having quality time with my family, and that was just so necessary. Anyways, finished objects, back in one. So the first finished object that I have that I do not think I've actually shown on the podcast yet is the shirt that I'm wearing right now. I made this shirt out of a green mystery fabric that I got from the clearance bin at a like kind of nationwide fabric store. And I made it because I actually got a new tattoo right before I filmed the last episode, but it was still in like the gross healing phase, so I did not want to show it off yet. But I'll show it to you right now. I have no idea what you can see here. Hopefully you can see it is a fig tattoo, so there's a few fig leaves and then there's 3 little figs and one of them is open so that you can tell that it is a fig. The artist did such a great job with it. It's healed so nicely. But in the healing process, I was going on a camping trip. And so while I was camping, we weren't going to be having a ton of access to shade. And it's really important that you don't like get a sunburn on your freshly tattooed skin because that's not great for healing. So I made this beautiful long sleeve, summer weight long sleeve. And I love the color. I'm so excited about it. I've worn it a bunch since. So I used the Elizabeth Suzanne Georgia t-shirt pattern, and that is a pay what you can pattern. Elizabeth Suzanne had for a long time a like slow fashion retail brand, but at the beginning of the pandemic she closed down the manufacturing portion of her business, and now she's moving to selling patterns that you can purchase the pattern and make the patterns that she used to sell pre-made for yourself, which is, I think, really, really amazing as a concept. Anyways, so she has a few of those patterns up available on her website. I know she has the Clyde pants, which are like an elastic waist pant with mega pockets on the side, really comfy, and the Georgia shirt and dress. And so I used mostly that. But instead of doing the little 2-inch sleeves that the Georgia shirt normally has, I extended them to be the whole length of my arm. And then I doubled the size up and downy ways. And so that gave me this really big balloon shape. And then I just cuffed it with a little bit of elastic at the wrist. But it's actually really, really stretchy. So it's not like tight or anything like that. And it got to protect my tattoo from the wind and the rain and the sun. For the hem of the shirt, instead of using the straight hem that Elizabeth Suzanne has on that, I fused it, and the side seam for that matter. Just one moment. I fused it with the bottom of the Elb Textiles button-down shirt that I have, whose name is escaping me at the moment. But it's got a really lovely curve in it on the side, and it also cuts in a little bit in the armpit region, which is what I was looking for. I'm gonna put this on because it is like officially fall in Calgary. It's been really cold overnight. On my bike rides to work in the morning, it's been like 3 to 5 degrees, and I'm trying to resist turning on the heating in the house until I really need to, because it's better to adjust fast and not feel cold for as long. Anyways, so in terms of clothing finish objects, I have this. Oh, I should not have put this back on, because the other thing that I have that's a semi-finished object for clothing is another holiday slipover. So if you've seen my earlier episodes, you may sort of recognize this, because what it is it was previously a holiday slipover that was all white. So it was all this cream yarn color, and I just really wasn't loving it. So I mentioned that I was planning on frogging it back and then re-knitting it, and that's what I've done. So I redid it with a kind of color changing mohair silk blend from Manas del Uruguay. All the details are in that previous episode. And I really love how the mohair made this all turn out. So it's got these bright pops of pink and purple and red and some orangey yellow. And I really love the combination. It doesn't have any like weird pooled splotches, which I was a little bit worried about with the just the highly do not know how to say that word out loud. With the color changing, I was a little worried that there was going to be splotches. But I'm pretty happy with it. The one thing that I have not yet decided is how I'm going to finish the neckline and the arms. So on the one that I'm currently wearing, I finished all of them with the ribbed band. And I like the ribbed band a lot, but I thought it might be nice to have a little bit of differentiation between them. So I was maybe thinking of doing an applied I-cord along the neckline and arms. My other limiting factor is that I only have a tiny little bit of the mohair left. I think I might have enough to make it all the way through, but I'm not 100% confident on it. What I do have though is this hot pink mohair. That's the Drops Kid Silk Pink. And so I was also considering maybe I'll just add in ribbing in that solid hot pink because I think it'll match the pops of pink that are in here quite well. So maybe you won't be able to tell and it'll look like a design feature. Oh, that was what I was gonna say about the comments from the last episode. I asked if anyone like made really big mistakes that made you feel like slightly bad, but you can fix them. Anyways, lots of great examples of people making mistakes while they're knitting. And one of the favorite things that I had from it was that a lot of people mentioned that instead of calling it a mistake, you can just call it a design feature. And it really reminded me a lot of, I used to be a canoe trip leader and a like camping trip leader for a while. And whenever we were on canoe trips and we were making food, if anything ever fell on the ground and like got just a little bit of dirt on it, not if it was like muddy or super gross, but just a little bit of dirt. It's not dirt, it's trip spice, because you can't really taste it and it's just part of the process of making dinner outside. Much like making small mistakes is part of the process of knitting, and then you can just call it a design feature. So I really like that philosophy and I'm definitely adopting it for my future makes. So if you have any thoughts about whether you think an I-cord edging or ribbed band would be better, or if there's anything that I don't know about that I'm totally overlooking and is an obvious solution to my problems, yeah, just let me know. I love seeing the comments and answering them and all of that stuff. And I could use some experienced input on this one, perhaps. My other knitted finished object, knitted finished object, 1/2. I have 1/2 of a sock. This sock was made using the custom Woolen Mills 2-ply sock yarn. And so it's a bit of a thicker sock yarn. I'm not sure, I think it's an Aran weight technically. And so I made it using 36 stitches cast onto a 3.5 millimeter needle. And I did it on my 9-inch circulars. And I just used a like Aran weight sock calculator that I found online. The first one fit really well, and so I just cast on the second one yesterday. Another bonus of using such thick yarn for socks is that it knit up so fast. It was amazing, because the other things that I've been knitting are these 2 socks, which have been sitting basically done for the past month in my knitting basket while I've been away. These are Summerly Knits patterns. So the first pair of socks that I made was a Summerly Knits pattern and I really liked it. And so I went and I purchased her Shorty Sock set and also one of her Colorwork sock sets. And I'm really excited to try that out in the future. But I've tried 2 of the ones from the Short Sock set. This is the Short Sporty Sock. And I did a contrasted like ankle band and heel and toe on it, and I think it's such a cute color. This is actually made with this Gathering Yarns summer sock yarn, and so it's got bamboo in it and it's a little bit lighter feeling, and I got a red contrast color to go with the blue because I thought that would look really nice together. I just have to finish Kitchenering off the toe. I ran out of yarn, and so I didn't run out of yarn. I've got a lot of the red yarn left. I just clipped it because I thought I was gonna have enough to finish, and I was a little bit under generous with the amount that I left myself. But that one's almost done. And the other sock that I made from that sock set was her ruffle sock pattern. Her ruffle sock pattern normally has the ruffle sticking straight up, but I took the instructions from the Drops website for their ruffle sock. It's called the Rosy Ruffle, I think. And I folded the ruffle over. And so this is my green summer sock yarn. These are gonna be my lettuce socks. And I did this on a little bit of a thinner gauge needle because I was thinking that maybe that would help my socks feel a little bit snugger. And I think it has a little bit, but I also don't think it was totally necessary. And so I think this one is gonna be a really fun one to wear with my like Doc Marten Oxfords. It's gonna look great. And this one really just needs to be Kitchenered also. It's totally done. And so once I've done that, I'm gonna cast on my second one and get going on that. Actually, I'm gonna finish this one because it was really satisfying to get through it so quickly before I jump into something that's gonna take a little bit longer. But that being said, all of those will be done in the near future, and I'll maybe briefly mention it when I get to them, but I'll show you a picture of the ruffle socks in shoes. That's what I'll do. But I won't go into quite as much detail. The other finished objects that I have are 2 sewing projects. So this one, I showed you the fabric that I said I was gonna use to make a knitting basket, and that is what I did. So it's got these cool running horses on it, and kind of like Monument National Park in America looking things, and some moons, and I really, really love the color. The one thing is that this is a quilting cotton, which means that if I put it down, it will collapse in on itself. And so I knew that that was gonna happen. I lined it with just another kind of, it's a bed sheet from Value Village that I cut up, and I made some pockets in the side so that there's a spot for me to put my knitting book and needles and a tape measure and stuff like that. And I really, really like the color. I like the shape of what I've made. It's basically just a big square. But I don't love how much it collapses in on itself, and I knew that was coming. So I'm considering different ways of reinforcing it in the future, whether that's taking it apart and just sewing in a lining with a thicker material. I think I watched the Grainline Studios bag tutorial, the stash bag, which is very, very cool. Highly recommend. If you're a knitter and you want to get into sewing, go watch those videos if you want to make yourself a project bag. They are so thorough, step by step, and it's the Field Company knitting storage bag pattern. I'll link it. It's fine. Anyways, they said in that you needed to probably use like a 10-ounce denim type material or canvas if you want it to stand up, and I totally see where they're coming from. But I didn't have that on hand, so this is what I've got for right now, and I'm gonna figure out how I'm planning on reinforcing it in the future. Speaking of 10-ounce denim, there is a wonderful fabric company called Blackbird Fabrics based out of Vancouver, and they recently posted on their website that they had a bunch of imperfect 10-ounce denim. So the colors aren't totally consistent across the whole bolt of fabric, which means that if you were to make a garment out of it, it might look like different pieces are different colors. So maybe a pocket would be off from the leg of the pant where you're putting the pocket, and it wouldn't look perfect. It would look pretty good, but not perfect. And so they had it on sale for like $10 per meter or something like that. And so I got some. And I made this very, very fun Bag-uettes ZWWave Bag. And so it's got this great little wave pattern. Mine is not actually strictly zero waste because I used a type of fabric where both sides aren't the same. So because I wanted to get the kind of twilled denim pattern on both sides, I had to use 2 pieces because the inside is this. And so if I had made it truly zero waste, it would have been the twill on one side and the inside of denim looking stuff on the other side. And I didn't totally want that. But what I did instead was that I used that second piece to make a pocket. And so I applied a pocket with the reversed wave pattern just onto the outside, and I really love how it mirrors itself. And yeah, I'll just show it to you quickly on my body. Big fan. And I also just tossed a quick little loop onto the inside, just like that, so that when I put my water bottle in the bag, it will hold itself upright. So I'm feeling like a genius at the moment. I know that's not a new idea and lots of bags have them, but I'm pretty proud of myself for attempting it. Bag-uettes is the name of the Instagram account / company who created the pattern for this bag. Her account is beautiful. It's just so gorgeous. And you can actually buy bags directly from her website a lot of the time. And she also is about to publish a pattern for a knitting bag. So it's going to be a tote bag like this with a ton of pockets on the outside. I'll put a picture and a link to her Instagram post about it. She's about to publish that pattern. So again, if you're planning on getting into sewing, now is prime time, because I feel like a lot of sewers, people who make sewing patterns, got super into knitting during the pandemic, and now they're flooding the world with their offerings. Yeah, so I just finished this up last night. I'm really excited to take it out for a roll and see how it holds up to real world usage. And those are my finished objects. Yeah, I'm really excited about them. I hope that you're excited about whatever you've finished recently also. Have a sip of tea. It's not actually tea, for the record. This is just honey and lemon water because it's cold in the morning and it is very cozy. This is another mug that I made during my brief foray into ceramics. Speaking of design features, I was planning on all of these lines to be a little bit more consistent, but they ended up very runny post-glazing, so we can just call it a design feature. It's also not actually a circle, because making circles is surprisingly difficult. All right, on to my works in progress. I'll kind of breeze through this portion because I actually don't have that many right now, if you don't count all of my half socks. The first one that I have is the Ghost Whisperer tank by Park&knit, who also has a very fun cow print cami that she came out with. It's like, I have no idea how she's done it. It's called some sort of color work, and it has cow print splotches on it. And I'm gonna make it one day. Not right now because it's getting really cold here, but one day. So the Ghost Whisperer is a t-shirt with puff sleeves that's made all in a kid silk mohair. And I've got the front of the body and the bottom of the back of the body. And I'll put it up so that you can see. There it is. Now, I don't know if you can tell, and I could not tell for the first little bit, but halfway through where I switched from doing the body in the round to working flat, I switched sides. So this is the knit side facing out from here down, and this is the purl side facing out from here up. And I've put this on the back burner again for a minute because I'm not sure whether or not I can tell that there's a difference and whether anyone I know will be able to tell that there's a difference. Because it took a lot of time to go back and forth and do this whole flat section, mostly because I'm not super good at knitting with really thin yarn on big needles. And I don't want to have to go redo it, but I also don't want it to like be really noticeable and then not pick it up after putting so much work into it. I'm thinking that I'm just gonna keep going with it because I have to really, really look at it to be able to tell, because you can see through the mesh. It's not as obvious as it would be on something that's more solid. So I might just intentionally do the same thing on the other side, and then it really is a design feature because I made a choice about it. But yeah, we'll see where I end up going with it. I'm really excited, honestly, for the most part, just about the big sleeves. I'm all over the big sleeves these days, and I think this is gonna be really cute and also really great for like just being able to toss in my bag and take to like a restaurant in the winter. Yeah, like I said, it gets cold here, and I normally get around that by, I have a coat that I refer to as my sleeping bag coat. It is very puffy. The puffs are like that thick, and it goes from my neck all the way down to my ankles. So I can really wear whatever I want to underneath it and not feel cold. But I do sometimes feel cold when I get to the restaurant, because often, because it's so cold outside, they keep the indoor temperature a little bit cooler also, because otherwise have you ever had that feeling where you're really, really cold and then you walk into a warm room and then you feel like you're gonna throw up? I have, and I'm pretty confident that other people have also, and that's why just having things be more similar to the outside temperature can be better, especially if everyone is dressing to feel a little bit chilly. So I think this is gonna be good for like kind of a nicer restaurant type thing, just as a overcoat. Back on my washcloth game, I've been making this basket weave washcloth dishcloth thing. It's a free pattern from Purl Soho, and I've been making it in some cotton that I got on sale. It's from Quinn & Co. And I really like the basket weave look. It's actually made entirely using slipped stitches. So you never purl, and you never have to do anything too complicated, just sometimes you slip a stitch. And that makes it really, really easy knitting to like kind of take with you, do while you're chatting, while you're watching TV. You really don't have to look at it too much. So I did a lot of this while binge watching all of Next in Fashion, which I really liked also. I cried at the finale when their families came. Yeah, clearly I'm very emotionally stable. I'm crying at like fashion reality TV, but it was really good and I liked it a lot, so I stand by it. And I'm gonna be on the lookout to find some clothes from the people who won, because I liked it a lot. Okay, on that fun note, my last work in progress, and potentially my most fun. So this is a pattern that I test knit. I only got through one arm during the test knit of this sweater, but that's okay, because I got through all of the instructions, and the instructions for the second arm are the same. This is the fire sweater that I've been referring to it as. I'll put the actual number name that it has. It's got it's like 100-216 or something like that, by Thelma Steimann something. It'll be on the page. It's a fire sweater. So I did this in the Haynes Creek Heathers DK. Oh, maybe not DK. Haynes Creek Heathers by Gathering Yarn. And I did it the body in a teal. And then I tackled my first color work. I did it. I ripped off the Band-Aid, and it did not go as badly as I was expecting it to. I was really, really, really cognizant of just like making sure that I was not pulling too tightly. I think that the hardest part of the color work for me was catching the floats in the back to make sure that I wouldn't have like really, really long stretches of yarn that I could jam a finger into while I'm trying to put it on. Yeah, so I did the fire in this beautiful gold yellow color. And the chart was really, really straightforward to follow, and I think it's gonna look great. I obviously haven't blocked it yet because I haven't done the second sleeve, but I think that blocking is gonna even out some of the tension issues in between the flames, and I can't wait to be able to wear it this winter. I took this project camping with us when we went this summer, and so I actually knit a whole bunch of it while I was sitting next to a campfire. So it actually still kind of smells like fire. So it is a fire sweater in more ways than one. Yeah, I'm just really excited about the pattern still. And if you do choose to check out the pattern, she's actually included 3 other charts for what to put on the sleeve, or 3 charts total. So there's a flame one, and then there's kind of like a flower grassy version, and there's a stars and moon arm. So if you're into like nature color work, if you're into looking like a witch, or if you like that, like the Matakoi, I think her name is, Irina, and she has that cloud sweater that has grass on the bottom, like bright green grass, and then clouds in a blue sky. If you want to make that sweater, this is the pattern to check out for sure, because you can, I think, really easily adapt the pattern to be able to add some clouds onto it if that is something that you wanted to attempt. It's just so much fun, right? And that's really all of my current works in progress. I'm actually kind of proud of myself because I thought I had more different projects on the go, but I've been wrapping them up, which feels good. I have another work in progress that's currently in Vancouver with my boyfriend because he's there for work for a couple of weeks, and so I left it there when I flew back to Calgary, and then I'll pick it up when I fly back to Vancouver, and then we drove Calgary to Vancouver, and we're gonna drive back from Vancouver to Calgary. It's a really beautiful drive. It's like all through the Rocky Mountains, and just absolutely gorgeous, but it is nice to have something to do during the drive, so I'll take that and finish up a pair of socks for him, which are so close to being done. They just need toe decreases, so easy peasy. All right, well, that's what I've got in terms of knitted things. Up next I have acquisitions, and then I'll do a little bit of a sit and knit and chat section if you're interested in that kind of thing. If you want to skip to that over at the end, go for it. If you're here for the acquisitions, they're all souvenirs. I'm psyched about a lot of them. Yeah, feel free to stick around for that too. So up first, this is the custom woolen mill. Custom woolen mill is not really a souvenir. The mill is about half an hour from where I live, and in Carstairs, Alberta. This is the same wool that I made this sock in, just in a different colorway, and they're all named after math people in this section. This one is a radiant glow. This one has something to do with concentric circles that I cannot remember the name of. So I made the pinker pair for me, and I'm gonna make my boyfriend this kind of purple lavender color for a pair of like nice winter boot socks. And so we'll both be nice and cozy in that. And then I got that, and then I went away. And so I spent 10 days in Nova Scotia. I went like over a lot of kind of the central area of Nova Scotia, and so I got to go to a bunch of the different little yarn stores, and some of them were so beautiful and gorgeous and just amazing. The first one that I went to was called the Wool N Tart in Wolfville, Nova Scotia. So Wolfville is this beautiful little university town. If you ever find yourself in Nova Scotia, I highly recommend going there on a Saturday. They've got an amazing farmer's market with like fresh flowers, freshly baked foods, someone who could knit faster than I've ever seen making beanies, and art, just everything you can imagine. It's really, really beautiful, and good food, good snacks. And that's where my roommates and I spent a couple days, just outside of Wolfville. And so my family came and picked me up from there, and then we went to the yarn store, which is called the Wool N Tart. I think it's run by the Gaspereau Valley Fiber Company. And so I got two things from there, and both of them are local to Nova Scotia. This one is the Hawthorne Hill Farm, and it's a farm run by Paul and Marilyn Cameron in Grafton, Nova Scotia. This is a Shetland sheep wool. It's lace weight, 2-ply, and it was from the sheep Muffy and Prim. I think it's just so precious to be able to get something where you like know which sheep it is and it's local, and just it's gonna be a good souvenir. I've been trying to figure out what exactly I want to do with it, and I found a really cool shawl that's name I can't remember, but I've got the tab open on my laptop, so I'll put it up here and put a picture of it. And so it takes a single skein of either fingering or lace weight yarn, and then it adds in a skein or two of mohair. So you can get a much larger shawl out of it and a kind of stripy pattern. And so I think I might do that with this so that I can get something that's a little bit bigger out of it, and also be able to use this beautiful yarn, which is not scratchy, like not scratchy at all. I'm very impressed. So, yarn purchase number 1 from Nova Scotia. Yarn purchase number 2, I've ripped the band off of, so I'm gonna go grab it and I'll be right back. I'm back. So this is my second yarn purchase. It is a sock yarn from the Fleece Artist, and it's their organic cottage socks. It's an 80% merino, 20% nylon blend, and you know, super machine washable, hand dyed in Halifax. In the color, I believe, primrose. Oh, no, mulberry. Color is mulberry, not primrose. It's this gorgeous kind of pink color, and it's gonna make the most beautiful pair of socks, and I cannot wait. And then my favorite yarn store that I went to, it was beautiful. If you like quilting, if you like weaving, if you like knitting, felting, anything in that realm of crafts, you have to check out, it's Heidi Wulfraat Studios. Her website is thewoolworks.com. And I got some of her hand-dyed sock yarn, hand-dyed mighty fine sock yarn, in this really fun kind of hot pink speckled orange color, purple speckles, orange speckles, and a bright pink section. I think it's gonna make a really cute little pair of like ice cream colored socks. And the art that she has up, she makes like traditional latch hooked rug art. It's beautiful. I'll put a picture of one of my favorite ones up. And I'm gonna save up, you know, and get one of those for myself because I absolutely loved it. And her studio is just flooded with light. It was gorgeous. I've took a video of it, so I'll put that in at the end. Yeah, I fortunately and unfortunately was in Mahone Bay and Lunenburg on a Sunday and a Monday. And if you have been to the east coast of Canada at all, you will know that hours are weird there sometimes. There's a lot of places that are closed on Sundays. There's a lot of places that are closed on Mondays and Tuesdays. And so I miss being able to go to a few places, like the Double Whale, which is a weaving studio that I really wanted to go to. They weave a lot of their fabrics and blankets with Briggs & Little yarn. And you can purchase kind of woven coats and blankets and that kind of stuff from them. And so I wanted to go in and check them out because I love watching the looms and everything like that, but no such luck this time, so I guess I'll just have to go back. In Vancouver, I didn't have a ton of time to visit because I was only there for like a little bit less than 48 hours, but one place that I did go to is Maiwa, Vancouver. And they're this gorgeous studio that focuses on crafting and dyeing. So they have a lot of plain white or like undyed fabrics. If you wanted to dye silk, dye canvas, dye denim, anything you wanted to dye on that front, and yarns. So they have a line of like already dyed colored yarns, and they also have all of their yarns as undyed bases, and they sell natural dye powders and dyeing kits so that you can really like go wild, do whatever you would like with it. So I got a couple things from their sale section. No yarn because I was like, I think I've got enough souvenir yarn at this point that I need to catch up on, but I did get some fabric that was just in their in their $10 remnant section. I have no idea what it is. So this one I think is a really fine cotton. It says on it, organic cotton. It is so, so fine. I think you can probably see me through it. So it's definitely not gonna become a shirt or anything like that, that's for sure, unless I were to make it as kind of like an overlayer to go over another outfit. It is actually finished on the edges. The way that they've like kind of cut and bound it is there's a zigzag over both of the edges, so it won't fray in its current state. And I'm thinking that I might just use it and dye it and wear it like as a mega fabric like summer scarf, because it's a really beautiful texture and I like it a lot. So I might kind of go down a like avocado rabbit hole and see what I can figure out on how to dye with natural products. But I think this has the potential to become many things. And the other thing that I got from them was this black linen. It is like pretty thick, textured. I have no idea how big it is because I haven't taken this like silk organza ribbon that they've tied it up with off yet. But it's in a bunch of pieces. So I think what I'm gonna do with this is make either a patchwork shirt. So I've seen a couple where like there's seams down the middle and then it goes around and has kind of an open back with a crisscross strap. Either that or some patchworked linen pillows, which I think would look really, really nice. Especially the ones that have the nice little ruffle around the edge. I will figure something out to do with it. It's a beautiful, beautiful texture, so I think it does deserve to become something fun. Maybe a quilted pot holder. Who knows? So those are my current acquisitions. I'm really excited about how things have been going. I'm excited to get back into it and be at home and be able to kind of settle into routine a little bit more for the next month or so before the snow comes, and also before my family comes to visit. They're gonna be here for Canadian Thanksgiving, and so I haven't seen my dad in like 2 years. I was able to see my mom in Halifax, but it will be good to be able to spend a holiday with them and show them around Calgary because my dad's never been to Alberta either. And so gonna take him on the tour of where we've lived for the past 2.5 years. I cannot wait. I'm so excited. And then we get to just really hunker down and wait until it starts snowing enough that we can ski more. Yeah, I'll grab out what I'm knitting currently, my mindless knitting of this washcloth. I have been reading a lot lately. That was my kind of main thing that I did while I was in transit on vacation. And I have been on a big historical fiction kick. So I read The Rose Code by Kate Quinn. It's a very fun, well, maybe fun's not the right word, but really good read. And it's about 3 women who work at Bletchley Park as code breakers during World War II. And there's a bit of history. There's lots of like interpersonal stuff. There's a bit of a mystery and a betrayal, and it was great. You just knew something was going to happen and you didn't know what. And then when you found out what happened, you didn't know who did it. And so they really kept you hooked throughout the book. And Kate Quinn, at the end of her books, Rose Code was the first one that I've read. I've since read 2 others. But at the end of her books, she puts a little like actual research section and more sources if you want to learn more about it. Also fun fact about the Rose Code, one of the main characters is Prince Philip's wartime girlfriend, she's like heavily based on a real person named Oslo, and she was a great character in the book. And so Prince Philip had a supporting role. So that was fun. And then I read The Alice Network by her, which is about a spy during World War I. And then I also read The Huntress, which is about a female bomber pilot who's part of the Russian Air Force during World War II. And so I've absolutely raced through those Kate Quinn books, and now I'm looking for something to fill that void. I normally read like a lot of fantasy fiction. I like to have books where I can kind of get out of the real world for a little while. And so if you have any recommendations of good things that you've read lately, please let me know in the comments, because I'm always looking for more books to read. If you like fantasy type books and you haven't read The Once and Future Witches yet by Alex Harrow, I highly recommend it. It was a lot of fun, and it was a great kind of retelling of the suffragette story, sort of, but with magic and like bringing back magic to the world. It's set in a city called New Salem after Salem burns, and they burn like literal actual witches. Just good stuff. Yeah, I would love to hear your book recommendations if you've got any, honestly. Yeah, I don't really have a ton else going on right now. I had a really busy time at work right before I left on vacation, and then now it's kind of settled into a routine again, and I'm just getting ready for my parents to come visit. So I'm gonna go to IKEA soon, get them a, set of bed sheets so that they're not sleeping with nothing. And it'll be really good. They're gonna be the first visitors that we've really had at this house because of, the current situation in the world, and it's gonna be amazing. And then my partner's parents are gonna come over Christmas. So we're gonna really be able to kind of settle into this house for the year. Gonna really decorate and go all out. I can't wait. Anyways, I hope that you all have something fun to look forward to in the next little while, and that you have a great time in the coming days until we see each other again. Bye for now. I don't think you can get lost. I think it just takes you kind of loopy.